Since the pro play circuit is starting to heat up for 2022, we should take a more in-depth look at what pro players' pocket picks are for the new year. What is going on, ProGuides family? It is your host, Sergeant Frost, and today we're going to be going over the best pro players to watch for every agent. There have been several new agents added to the game since we have updated this list, so we've definitely got a lot to cover today, and let's hop right into it. Sova is an agent that has many fans in the pro community. He is the best info gatherer in the game, which draws a large crowd to his fandom in-game. But one player that goes above and beyond with his kit in-game for his team is Hiko. Hunter Thieves Hiko has been the Sova player for their squad ever since 2020 when their team got a full-on rework. Hiko is known as a clutch god since he always manages to survive late into rounds, and he can thank his Sova play for that impressive feat. It's no wonder Hiko can clutch up any bad situation he's thrown into. His in-depth Sova knowledge allows him to use his recon bolt, drone, and shock darts to their maximum capabilities at any and all times. If you want to learn how to use Sova in the clutch, your first stop should always be old man CSGO Hiko. When I think of an Astra in pro play, the first pro player that pops into my mind is C9 Vanity, and for good reason. Astra is synonymous with Vanity because it was this man that used Astra to her highest potential in the most recent Valorant champions. He shot called for version 1 at Iceland, and he was the main utility man on C9 when he uses Astra. He plays Astra very conservatively. You can see in his style of play that he prioritizes staying alive and playing his life, because he ultimately understands that the longer he stays alive, the better chance his team has to win the round. His smokes are perfect, his stuns and sucks are clutch, and he's the most creative Astra player I've seen use her wall in pro play, which is saying something because I've learned some trick walls by watching a lot of pro play over the last year. Breach has not been used much throughout last year, but he did find some decent play towards the end of episode 3 when Fracture was introduced. One player in particular that has made exceptional use of Breach is Patatek. Patatek has found himself on several utility agents, including Initiators and Breach in particular. On his streams, he seems comfortable pulling out Breach and using him to destroy solo queue games, but in pro play, we've only seen him use him on Fracture. Breach is without a doubt a complex agent to play. You need knowledge and foresight in order to make his CC abilities work, and he's currently only meta on Fracture. However, his play rate is increasing on maps like Split and Haven at an alarming rate, and it could be a reality that the future holds a lot more room for Breach. Breach requires research if you want to bring him into your ranked games, and Patatek is a great teacher to learn from. Brimstone is one of the most common smoke picks you can find in the game in solo queue. He's perfect for players that need to fill that either don't own controllers or people who just simply don't like playing them. However, you can level up your Brim play by watching Fnatic Boaster. Even though Brimstone seems simple, he does have layers to his gameplay when it comes to placing his smokes, using his lineups, and distributing his other abilities as well. Boaster has used Brimstone on the highest of stages, on maps like Bind with high success. He's also an IGO that leads his team to victory against the best in the game. If you want to take your Brimstone play to a higher level, Boaster streams are a good place to start, and he provides good rank tips as well. But of course, another thing to keep in mind is that even though you're on a relatively basic agent like Brimstone, you need to have solid aim to pair up with your agent knowledge, like Boaster and every pro has. That's why we recommend AimLab, the best aim trainer around. Not only will you get pro-created playlists to test your abilities as well as some awesome scenarios that represent in-game situations, you have nifty metrics to keep track of progress so you can see your improvement as you train. So if you haven't, make sure to download AimLab and build some nutty aim today. Link is in the description if you're interested. Chamber, like KILLJOY and CYPHER, is an agent that requires a lot of knowledge and experience of how to use his abilities in order to make him work well for you. Especially since he's new, it's a good idea to learn from the top players to get an idea of the current meta setups and playstyles you can run with him. That means learning his trip placements, learning how to efficiently place his TP beacons, how and when to use his ultimate and deagle alike. One Chamber main that has currently made a name for himself for his Chamber play is Team Liquid's Yampy. The Lockdown Chamber player has been known to use utility agents over the past year for the Liquid squad. If you watch his streams, he will often play Chamber when he gets the chance, and he will dominate every time he pulls out the agent on stream. He's also an amazing AWPer, which only makes his Chamber gameplay feel even more amazing. If you want to learn the little intricacies and tricks of Chamber's kit, Yampy is a great player to watch. For a long time, Sentinel's Dapper was known to be the best Cypher to watch hands down for all Cypher fans out there. But after VCT Berlin last year, Nats was carrying his team on his back, holding off 5-man rushes and solo defending sites with his Cypher play. We can't guarantee that if you watch his stream religiously you'll be capable of playing like Nats, but we can guarantee that you'll learn a lot more about site holding and how to properly play Cypher on defense. His playstyle is really smart and explosive at the right times, while also being very well thought out at the same time, which is what makes him an amazing player to watch. Moving into JETT, we have to be honest. There are so many different pro players and creators you could watch to learn JETT from, and for so many different playstyles as well. Everyone has their favorite JETT player, but for the sake of this video, we're going to recommend the world champion CNED. For CNED, the version of JETT you will mainly be watching is an aggressive AWPing JETT. CNET is a god with JETT when he has an AWP in his hands. His positioning, timing, shot placement, map movement, and innate JETT instincts are tiers above most pro players currently competing right now. If you want a great example to learn AWP JETT from, CNET is your guy. But if you play a different style of JETT, Durka, Tens, BabyBay, and more are some other players whose streams you might want to hop into to get a better idea of different ways JETT can dominate the game right now. Before we move on, we have to get to our question of the day. Today's question is, what is your favorite pro player to watch and for what agent? For me personally, it's Asuna from 100 Thieves and his Rays. Asuna is a young and aggressive entry frag player and his Rays follows suit. He knows how to use her blast packs, he always has a great place to throw her nade, and he's great at using her blast pack plus ultimate combo. So that's my favorite player to watch. Let us know who yours is in the comment section down below. Now, let's get right back into the video. While we're on the topic of the world champions Ascend, let's talk about KO and Zeke really quickly. If you watch Masters, Zeke is the guy that's often on initiators and KO specifically. A big reason Ascend was able to have so much success on attacking rounds in that tournament was mainly due to their KO usage. They are an execute heavy team and that is KO's main strength as an agent. His suppression allows him to nullify defensive setups and give his team a brief window of time to capitalize on a weakened defense. For Killjoy, we got Soigitsu from FPX or Fun Plus Phoenix, a team that recently just beat Gambit in a best of 3 during VCT Challengers. Soigitsu isn't the most flashy Killjoy player or the most frag heavy Killjoy, but in reality that's not what you want from this agent. Soigitsu plays her like a top tier Sentinel player would, and that's to play around her area like a master and use each piece of utility with a purpose. If your goal is to understand how to play Killjoy at a high level the right way, Soigitsu is a great player to look at. So far, Neon hasn't been used a ton in pro play, so there aren't many pro players that have a large enough sample size and competitive for us to recommend someone for you to watch for her. But we can recommend Tens as he does stream with her a lot for content purposes. He is a fast-paced duelist main and he uses Neon to her full potential while collecting highlight reel clips of her whenever he uses her on stream. If your goal is to get a good grasp of what Neon can do in the right hands of a capable player, then there is no other place to look for than Tens. OMEN isn't used too often in pro play ever since Astra and Viper evicted him from the meta last year. But one pro player who has historically been a great OMEN player is Ascend's controller main Bone Cold. Bone Cold is an exceptional OMEN player. His flashes, smokes, and ultimates for rotations are always on point and well used. A big part of OMEN's kit is knowing when to and not to use his abilities so you can use them to their max effectiveness in a round. If you need a great pro player example for OMEN now that Nitro is no longer a Valorant player, we can't recommend Bone Cold enough. Like OMEN, Phoenix has all but disappeared from the pro meta, so we will go from the past Phoenix history for his recommendation, and we have to give it over to Sentinel Sick. Sick is the utility man for Sentinels, but he has one of the best Phoenixes in the West when Sentinels lets him play duelists. Sick's Phoenix is an in-your-face type of entry frag. He's not afraid to throw his flashes while running and wide swing corners to get the first pick on a bomb site. Another thing that separates him from your average Phoenix is his wall usage when attacking. He doesn't hold on to it for extra healing. He actually uses it in a timely manner when attacking to create space for his team to enter into a bomb site. Sick is a great Phoenix player to watch if you want to learn how to really entry frag with him. XSET as a squad has been putting up some good numbers recently in pro play, and a big part of that is Zekin and his Rays. Zekin is a master at Rays movement with her satchel packs and ultimate. XSET will sometimes pass up a JETT to run with the Rays because Zekin is that adept with his entry pathing when he's using that agent. The main thing you need to learn with Rays in order to get good with her movement is blast packing, and Zekin is a great pro example to teach you the ropes. They know him for his one-taps and they also know him for his scary REYNA play. The man Scream on Team Liquid terrorizes games with his REYNA. REYNA is an agent whose potential is tied to the capabilities of the player playing her. Scream is an excellent pro example of a player who can play her to her max potential in solo queue and in pro play. He knows when to heal and dismiss at the perfect times. His flash placement is god tier, and most importantly, he knows the best times to use her ultimate for when he needs to save a round. Scream is a great teacher of REYNA, and he streams often too. For Sage, we have Hoodie from G2. Sage has disappeared a little bit from the pro meta recently, but even then, Hoodie is an adept Sage player for G2 that still runs her on many maps for their team. Hoodie is a great Sage because he can pull off the Battle Sage playstyle on attack, and he can even be a side anchor with Sage on defense. Not many Sage players can successfully play and switch between both playstyles seamlessly, but Hoodie has been doing it on G2 for a while now. One of the best Sky Pro players I think I've ever seen in action is 100 Thieves Ethan. 100 Thieves stopped running the traditional double duelist comps a while ago, and instead they've been opting to run one duelist and one initiator, and it's usually Ethan on Sky. We personally cannot sing high enough praises for this man's Sky. His flashes always reach where he wants them to go, he has great pathing with Tiger to scout for his team, and he always has great resources available to his team with clutch heals and ultimate for free info. Ethan is arguably one of the best Skies in all of pro play, and he has a large sample size of games on her to back it up. Tune into his Sky if you want to see more. FPX had a great showing in the tournaments that they played in the last year, and one of their best reasons for success was Angel's Viper. Angel plays Viper very well on both sides of the map. He has lineups for most maps that allows him to be a post-plant player on offense, and on defense, he has complex Viper setups that allow him to play like a sentinel and solo hold bomb sites for his team. His Viper knowledge runs deep and is very effective for helping his team secure round wins and his methodical play with her. He's a great example of a pro Viper done well. Okay, Yoru has not been played by anyone in pro play except for TenZ. While we don't recommend Yoru right now, especially for high-level ranked player tournaments, TenZ is a player who has been able to use him with some effectiveness in a high competitive environment. If you want to know more about how this agent can work well in pro play, we steer you in his direction. TenZ can make all agents look broken at times, but his Yoru gameplay is definitely not just his solid aim. There's always a good amount of thought that goes into his plays, and as flashy as they seem, they're supported by a ton of solid fundamentals. And that concludes our best pro players to watch for every agent. If you enjoyed this tier list, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to keep up to date with the latest Valorant news, updates, and guides. Also, make sure to check out our website for truly amazing on-demand coaching, ProGuides.com. This has been your host, Sergeant Frost, and good luck on the grind this act.